Hey everybody, this is the fan interview question, and I'll be answering your questions really soon. First, I just want to say thank you for all the emails, and I apologize for this delay. I've been having a really hard time with these video interview things, always constant technical difficulties. But thanks for being so patient, and here's the fan interview questions. I hope you like it. Question number 1. Usually artists' first album is self-titled. Why did you name your first album Eclectic? I named my first album Eclectic because the sound of my first album was very eclectic. One track would be straight up, R&B, and then the next track would be, rock, just rock music and stuff. So like each track would be kind of like 180 degrees different from each other. And back then I don't think people was doing that too much. I mean, now everybody's kind of doing that, doing a little bit of everything, but like a mixture of sounds. But when I was releasing that album, it was very rare. So that's why I named it Eclectic album. Question number 2. When you're making the Eclectic album, did you intentionally produce the tracks to be different genres? Well, I really didn't intentionally made the genres different. I didn't say, hey, I'm gonna make this album and every track is gonna be like this and like that. I want it to be like that. It just happens like that. When I make my songs, I don't really think like, oh, is this an R&B sound? Is this a rock sound? Is this a pop sound? Is this a Caribbean kind of sound? Like, what kind of, I don't really think of what genre. I just go whatever best suits the lyrics and complement my piano arrangement well. I just make music. I don't see like it as genres. So if it just happens to be a rock sound, it just has a rock sound. If it has like more of a hip hop sound, it has a hip hop sound. I just do what feels right and what goes best with the lyrics. Question number 3. As far as the sound of the Eclectic album, what artist influenced you the most? I would say JC, Shazay, or Mincing. His Schizophrenic album. His Schizophrenic album, I don't know. I believe he didn't get enough props for it, but at the time, I really haven't heard that many artists that has that eclectic sound. Everybody was just like, I'm hip-hop, I'm going to stay hip-hop, I'm pop, I'm going to stay with this pop sound. Everybody just stuck to a sound. But JC and his Schizophrenic album, he didn't really, there was a little bit, like one track that was reggae, one that was techno, one that was like this soft rock, one that was like a ballad. It was like very, to me, I don't know, I thought it was kind of different and unique. And, it was something that I always wanted to do since I was like 12. But I just didn't know how to do it or how to like arrange the music or whatever. But once I heard JC Schizophrenic album, it was kind of like, I saw it kind of like a blueprint sort of on how to go by it, but I just went by it my way, and and everything. So definitely JC Schizophrenic album. Question number 4. What was the most challenging thing about making the eclectic album? Oh my god. The most challenging thing was when I was recording the album. I think I was about 16 or 17. So at the time, it was just a lot of songs, because we're talking about songs I've written since I was 12, 11 years old until that time period. So we're talking about 4 or 5 years worth of songs. And I wrote a lot of songs within the 4 or 5 years. A lot of music was written. So the hard part is, like, the typical pop album has like 12 tracks. So to narrow down like from hundreds and hundreds of songs to 12 tracks, that was challenging. At first, I just felt very overwhelmed. I was like, oh my god, I have all these songs. How am I going to narrow it down to 12 tracks? This is, I don't know. But I figured a way out. I just perform my songs, and I pay attention to the audience, and their response and everything. I see if audience, kind of zone in and out of the songs, or if they were touch or move. Some audience cried, some audience, get up and dance, and people were like, oh, this is boring. So, from there, I just kind of it helped me narrow it down. Question 5. I know you made Lifted Higher when you was 12 years old, but do you remember the creative process on how that came about? I'm like, I'm trying to keep my answers really short, but this is kind of a long story kind of thing. Lifted Higher, actually, the composement, the actual piano composement, was a classical music composement that I did when I was 10 years old. Because my school was having a recital, and everybody was gonna do Beethoven and Bach and this and that. And even though I love Beethoven, I respect the classical music composers back then, I thought, I'd rather be different. I'd rather be unique. And I'd rather, write my own composement, my own piano composement, instead of, doing, what everybody else is doing and just playing others. I just wanted to be original. So I came up with this classical music composement, and I called it Life. And I went to school for that recital. I played it. Everybody was really impressed. Everybody loved it. It was one of those things. And then I challenged myself like a year or two later to be like, let me take this classical music composement that I made and change up the rearrangement to make it like a pop sound. And oh my god, that was so hard to do because I think I was overthinking it. And then I finally just pop music is pretty simple. It's short and simple, and something about the melody is very catchy, and it's very simple and catchy. Don't overthink it. Just get rid of all these fancy elements and all that stuff, and just bring it down further. And I broke it down the piano arrangements and stuff. And then all of a sudden I had this it sounded like a popish sound, like this pop music sound. And I kept playing the chords, and I was like, ooh, this sounds cool. And I just remember I just was just sitting there playing the chords, and I don't know what happened, but the words just came out. It's not like I was thinking of the words or let me try to figure out the lyrics. It was just I was sitting there and I was playing it, and then all of a sudden, you know, before my heart never feel like this, I never knew real love exists. It just popped out of my mouth, and I kind of froze. I'm like, what's going on? And then I told myself, why pause? Keep going, because this is awesome. I don't think this is the kind of thing where you should stop. I think this is the kind of thing you should keep going. And so I went back. I kept singing, and the rest of the words, I don't know. It just easily. I didn't have to think about it, or anything. It just came out. And then I just remember, I was like, oh my God, I better write the words down because I have bad memory. So I wrote down the words, and that was the way Lifted Higher was made. Question number 6. I love the Eclectic album, and I can't wait for the Morphing album. When is the Morphing album coming out, and how come it's taking so long? I get this question like all the time with my fan emails. Thanks for being a big fan of the Eclectic album. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Morphing album will be coming out next summer. I wish to say this summer, but it's gonna be next summer. I know I want it summertime because every time I say I'm gonna come out with the Morphing album, I always say summer because I really want to come out in summertime. It's taking a long time because with the Eclectic album, it wasn't professionally done. After making the Eclectic album, I gained so many fans, and the quality wasn't that great, but I guess if the music is good, and people love it. But with this album, Morphing album, I really wanted to get it done professionally, and I really need help. I wanted to collaborate with the producer and everything. Even though I know kind of how to make tracks and I know how to play the piano, I definitely want somebody who's a professional to collaborate with. Almost like what Justin Timberlake and Timbaland has. Like Justin Timberlake, he goes on his piano and does, ooh, cry me a river, and then Timbaland is like, oh, okay, I see that, alright, let me take that and add my little Timbo thing, and we gonna make hits like that. That's what I was looking for, like a producer where I'm the Justin Timberlake and I'm just looking for my Timbaland. I'm just kind of now just doing things on my own, but now I have a professional microphone. I don't have a Windows Millennium. I got my beautiful MacBook Pro. I got GarageBand. So I've been trying to get this album done by myself lately. I just realized I'm not going to get a producer. So from now on, maybe the third album, it could be done in an actual studio with a professional, but the second album really needs to get done quickly. So I'm just going to stick to my GarageBand and get it done fast and good. Fast and good. Not good. Great. Fantastic. Amazing. Orgasm in your ears. But yeah, so that's why it's taking so long. I'm so sorry it's taking long, but I guarantee the second album, Morphing album, definitely worth the wait.